Bronc Bros Podcast with Adam Ramirez and Sean Flanagan.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Bronc Bros Podcast. We're back together this week, Sean, and what better week could we possibly think to bring ourselves back together to talk about the Broncos than this week with the wildest game in Broncos regular season recent history, or maybe history in general. So it's good to have you back, Sean. How was family time last week?
It's good, man. Yeah, it's football takes up 99.9% of my life and not just the Broncos. So sometimes you got to fit it in, man. So I appreciate it.
Yeah, so before we get started, of course, this is Bronc Bros. Make sure you find us on YouTube, like, follow, subscribe, share wherever you can. On Instagram at BroncBros _ at Mile Jaimez if you want to follow me and talk to me directly. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Sean, let's get into it, man. Let's get into it. So on Saturday, I'm sitting at my table having lunch with my girlfriend, and my buddy Nick, who works for the Broncos, he's like, hey, do you want tickets for the game tomorrow? Little did I know when I said yes to that question, Sean,
that
I was going to see, I don't even know how to put it.
One for the ages, bro. Like, you can't, it'll never happen again.
Yeah, it never has happened, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So I'm sitting there and, the Georgia Bulldogs are stressing me out. That's another story. While I get this text, and I'm like, dude, I'm so over football right now. Like, I just can't do it, And the Broncos, the way they played last week, I just wasn't sure. I was going to go, but I wasn't sure that I was, like, amped for the game. You know what I mean? And so, of course, I said yes. And then I end up getting to the game. And I didn't know this, but they were handing out these magnificent chains for the Super Bowl 50 team. Now, I did know that they were going to commemorate the Super Bowl 50 team. I did know that DT was going into the Ring of Fame. I knew those things. I did not know I was going to get this, just the best thing I've ever received as far as Broncos memorabilia is concerned.
It's so sick, dude.
It's awesome. I think other people had the same idea as me. They wanted to get extras, and I was like, hey, like I told my cousin, I was like, give me your box, go to the front, and just pretend you didn't get one before, because we were at a different entrance. But I also felt so wrong doing that, honestly. Yeah. And so we didn't end up doing that. But the thought had crossed our mind. I will tell you, Sean, as I brighten my light here, I will tell you that I think other people did actually do this because they ran out pretty quick.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, getting there early sometimes pays off. And then this is one of those cases. So anyway, I'm really happy to have this thing, and no, I will not sell it ever for any reason. Good luck to those of you who are doing that on eBay. But Sean, we're getting into the game now. And I'm sitting there watching the Broncos unfold on offense in the first quarter, and it was just a surreal experience. It looked like a preseason game to me. It's like, okay, we're trying to work out the kinks. We're trying different personnel packages. We're seeing what fits, what sticks, what doesn't, all that stuff. We just couldn't get going. And being there in person, I will tell you, is a lot more therapeutic than just being at home and yelling at yourself, yelling by yourself at the TV while your girlfriend looks at you like, what is wrong with you?
Yeah.
Because you got other people around you like, Sean Payton, call better plays, and, oh, it's another screenplay, and, like, run the ball, like everything that I say out loud when I'm at home. So, Sean, what were your thoughts as you watched the Broncos specifically play on offense in the first half?
Unwatchable. Mm-hmm. Absolutely and utterly unwatchable. And it's what the sad thing is when it comes to football, like, your first 15 are usually some of the most effective plays because you've game planned them all week. You know what you're going to expect on defense, and you're efficient, and you typically have relatively good drives. And I was texting you forgetting that you were at the game at first. But like I'm just like, all right, Adam says it every week. It's my turn. The play calling is atrocious. It's unacceptable, and we're gonna hype up and we're gonna talk how awesome this game is, but you can't call plays like that week in and week out and expect to do anything other than beat trash teams. And that's kind of what's happening right now. And I was just watching it, and I was the other weekends yelling at my TV with my kids and my wife, like, what the hell? And I'm like, I literally told you after halftime, like, I'm ready to turn this off because it just so. And it's just, drop balls. There was a number of drop balls in the first two drives. I think it was a lot of overthrows. But notice that I'm not saying running plays, because we don't ever run the damn ball for whatever reason. And the frustrating part is, I know in the NFL, but our teams, when we had Terrell Davis, every single person lining up on defense knew you were running the ball, and we did it anyway, and we did it effectively. This team goes up against a good run defense and absolutely abandons it from the first whistle. I'm sick of saying it, man. It's gonna be the demise of this football team. I'm not dwelling on it after such a cool experience, game, everything like that, but it is not sustainable, and I'm sick of watching it week in and week out.
Yeah, and we're definitely going to touch on that, Sean. No question about it. We're going to touch on that more later on. But yes, when I was sitting there and I could see the plays unfold, it's so much different when you're there watching the game and you can see that receivers aren't getting open. You can see that this Bo Nix pass that he's throwing out of bounds has no chance right when it leaves his hand. You can see when the defense, is going to give up a big play, and they did that a lot against the Giants. For a lot of that game, I was thinking to myself, man, Dable is taking Vance Joseph to the woodshed today, man. Kind of like the Colts game, where we didn't have any answers, and we didn't for a long time. And, my experience there at the game, it wasn't anger. It was like more disbelief. Like, what am I watching? Is this real life? And that was a theme throughout the day. Let me tell you what. But like, part of me was like, the first game I ever went to was the Broncos lost 59-14, I think it was, to the Raiders. That was the first game I ever attended in person. And I was like, dude, this is what this is going to be. It's going to be a bad, like, blowout loss to the Giants. And I was thinking to myself, and we were talking with people around us, like, this team is jet lagged. They're not ready to play. They were running their mouths all week for some weird reason against the Giants of all teams. You want to do that against the Raiders, that's cool. But, like, they just didn't look interested in playing. And there was even a point in the third quarter where I was like, there is no sense of urgency here at all. When they were down 19-0, it was just like they were walking to the line. And I didn't recognize the Broncos that I was watching. Now, granted, they haven't put together a full 4 quarters in any game this year, but the lack of effort was very concerning. So, Sean, going to the second half, or before I get to the second half, I should say, the halftime ceremony was super emotional, and it was awesome to be there for that. DT going into the Ring of Fame, which we'll touch on a little bit later. And then the Super Bowl 50 team being there. Just couldn't put into words what that was like to see. And I was even making jokes. I'm like, can these guys play for us in the second half, the Super Bowl 50 team? Because I'm pretty sure they would have played better than that. And Peyton Manning, he looked like he can still play. And DeMarcus Ware is always going to look like he can still play. And TJ Ward looks like a beast still. And, all these guys, Emmanuel Sanders, he doesn't age at all. It was so good to see these guys. And I was like, this is how we're playing when the Super Bowl 50 team is here. I wonder if the Super Bowl 50 team went into the locker room and was like, what the hell are you guys doing?
Yeah.
And they would have had grounds to do it because they've won a Super Bowl. They can do whatever they want around here.
Yeah.
Short of killing puppies, like they can just do whatever they want. But I definitely thought to myself, it was only 13-0 at halftime, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. So I was thinking to myself, okay, we're going to get the ball after halftime. We're going to get a touchdown. We're going to be right back in the game. Everything's going to be fine. Nope.
Fumble.
They continued to play like they just didn't care. And what was really weird to me was for as bad as they were playing and as much as they were getting booed, they still just didn't have that jump, you know? And I was like, well, we've come back against the Eagles. We made the plays that we need to against the Jets. Like, eventually we're going to make a play. And it just wasn't happening. And the refs did not help, by the way, Sean. And we'll talk about that here in a second, too. But once the fourth quarter rolled around, I was doing the math. I was sitting talking to my cousin and the guys around me. I was like, the Broncos need to score, like, right now. Like, the first play of the fourth quarter. Like, we can't do this 6-play, 7-play thing right here. Because I think we were at the 20 or the 10 or something to start the fourth quarter.
Yeah, red zone.
And they scored right away. And I was so mad at Sean Payton all day because this guy just does not want to run the football in the red zone. He just doesn't want to do it. I don't know if it's like a pad the stats thing with Bo Nix or whatever it is, but what were your thoughts as the Broncos were in the red zone there in the fourth quarter, Sean?
It's hard to say. My expectations were low because I understand that we've done it, but it's like you can't play one quarter of football in multiple games and expect to be successful. So, I was under the impression that, our luck just ran out. So obviously it's great that that wasn't the case. And, Bo Nix made some amazing plays with his feet and with his arm. So, but it's like, I'm telling you, when he fumbled the snap in the third quarter, I had to leave the room because I didn't want to be a Cowboys fan and rip my TV off the wall and destroy it like your typical Cowboys fan. I was just like, I physically can't watch this anymore. So, to see them turn it around, obviously, I think the statistic I read today was, teams were 1,068-0 when they were up, like whatever it was, however many points with under 6 minutes. I don't have the math in front of me, but it's like, I mean, there was 99.9% Vegas odds that we were going to lose that game. So you just
99.8.
Yeah, for them to get a spark and then ride that wave all the way to the last second of the game, that's promising to see. But I'm not, I know we're going to get into the whole dart thing and, the Giants are not a good football team. They're a young football team. They're not a good football team. And I think they will be good based on these pieces that they have. That's not a good football team. That's why you won. You know what I mean? So yeah. I mean, I'll let you run with it since you were there. And I was being a negative Nancy because I was sick of watching it, but I'll let you run with it.
No, I think you make excellent points. The Giants defense statistically coming in this game was one of the worst on the ground, through the air, all of it. And as formidable as their front seven is, the sack numbers, correct me if I'm wrong, Sean, they just weren't there yet at this point. They have all the talent in the world, but they haven't been getting to the quarterback as much as you would think with that front seven. And so my whole time I'm thinking, at some point, we got to break through against this particular defense, right? This defense is not good. Like, at some point, we're going to break a play, or we're going to get a break from the refs, or they're going to turn the ball over, or whatever it is, and it just wasn't happening. But I will say this. When they scored that touchdown, I said, okay, all right, we got a shot. If I was at home watching this game, Sean, I would have been like, I don't care. Like, I'd have been like, it doesn't matter. We're still going to lose. But there's something about there's something about being in that stadium around other people that are having the same thoughts as you that is so therapeutic and so calming that you don't feel the need to react that way. So I was surprised by myself, to be honest with you, the way I was reacting. But when you're at the game, there's no real other thing to do but then to just cheer the team on, right? And booing them is not going to help, in my opinion. And saying that they deserve to be booed and actually booing them are two different things. And I'm in the same boat with both of those things. Did they deserve to be booed? Yes. Did I boo? No, I don't really believe in that kind of stuff because I don't think it's helpful, right? So I don't blame the people that were booing, but at the same time, I was like, okay, this isn't how they're not gonna get energized by you guys booing them, So, and then the way that this game was going, Sean, when they scored that touchdown, I think it was on 3rd and 17 on a deflected pass. I turned around to the person behind me and I said, "It's just not our day, man. It's just not." And I was being like calm about it. I was just like, you know what? When something like that happens, it's just not your day. Yeah. And I genuinely thought that. I really did. But then the Broncos went down and scored again, right? And it's like, okay, we might be okay here. But the biggest turning point of the game, in my opinion, Sean, was that horrendous turnover by Jackson Dart. And I know that the disguise was there because Sternad was going to come on the blitz and then he dropped into coverage. But even so, Dart was looking right at him.
Yeah.
There's no way that he didn't see him, but you know what? He didn't see him. Yeah. And so he threw the ball, and not only did Sternad make an interception, but he made a great play on that ball. He almost like one-handed it a little bit at first because it was kind of high and outside a little bit. And so I lost my ever-loving mind when that happened because I was like, oh my God, this is it. This is it. Because I kept telling people around me, I was like, Dart's going to throw us the ball at some point because the pressure that the Broncos put on quarterbacks is just too much. Yep. And as good as he was escaping the pocket all day long, I knew that at some point they were going to give us the ball, and they did. And I said, okay, if we're going to do this, I think it was 5 minutes and 17 seconds left or something like that, right? 5:21, something like that.
It's in that ballpark for sure.
And I said, we got to score right now. And what did they do? They scored right that time, okay? And then everybody in the crowd started believing again, and it started getting loud. Now, the people that left when it was 26-8, there was a lot of them. A lot of people left after that touchdown. And there was a point in time, Sean, where I was like, if I stay, I'm going to see the greatest comeback in Broncos history. But if I don't, I can beat the traffic a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the old man in us.
Well, and I had spent $600 at the team store before the game, and I was so mad. I was like, I'm taking all this stuff back. I don't want it. I don't want this Knicks jersey. Like, it was going through my head, and I was like, okay, if I go to the store before everyone else, it won't be packed. All these things were going through my head. It was crazy. But I turned to my cousin, and I said, we've got the Giants right where we want them. But I was being totally facetious about it. I was not serious at all. And so just the way that whole fourth quarter unfolded, Sean, and I think you guys saw when I posted that video of Bo Nix scoring that touchdown, it was at that point that I knew we were going to win, and I had no negative thoughts after that point because I knew that the Broncos were going to find a way to win this game. Even after the Giants scored that touchdown, I knew we were going to win the game. I just knew it. I felt it in my soul. And from a guy that's never really super positive, I was telling people, I was like, it's really good that Jackson Dart scored that touchdown right there because had he not, they would have ran down the clock and we wouldn't have gotten the ball back at all.
Yep.
So people were like, that's not a touchdown. I was like, no, let him have it. We need the ball back. And these kickoff rules are going to help us big time. But Sean, on that last drive for the Giants, can we talk about the egregious pass interference call on Riley Moss? What were your thoughts on that? Did you actually go through the act of breaking your TV at that point? What happened there at your house during that play?
It's just fitting, right? It feels like, I don't know. It feels like they're always looking to make one of those calls, especially when the scales have tilted so far. You know what I mean? Like it was like, this game's over. Everybody put their money on where it needs to be to win their money. So give them this soft call. And, I think we've talked about it. Riley Moss is a pretty handsy defender, in my opinion.
He sure is.
But he does, I've seen some of the statistics around him, and obviously at the target rate that he gets, he does a great job, but he's a handsy corner, and that's dangerous in jump ball situations and deep down the field situations because you know they're going to throw it at you. So not surprised, I guess, is the frustrating portion about it, whether, you believe in the call or not, and, there's some people that were upset about the calls in the Eagles game going the other direction. So, how much do you believe that, retribution from the NFL to get that L in the loss column for the, the team that stole it the week before? I don't know.
Mhm.
That's all conspiracy type stuff. I didn't like the call. I think it's pretty weak, but I'm also not surprised.
And for as much as I give Sean Payton crap, and I'm going to here in about a couple minutes, I loved seeing him on the field. At that point, you get a penalty. It's like, okay, I mean, they're already at the 2-yard line. Who cares? You know? So, like, I love seeing that passion because I thought that was a terrible call. And if you look on social media, the Giants fans were admitting that it wasn't a PI. The Eagles fans, of course, were calling it a PI because they're salty about losing to the Broncos. But I still, when that happened, Sean, I was like, we're gonna win this game, dude. I either thought that we were gonna stop them on the goal line or that they were gonna score and we were gonna get the ball back and go. And so when they scored that touchdown and they were reviewing, I was telling everyone around us, I was like, no, we want that to be a touchdown. We want the ball back. I said, these kickoff rules are gonna help us. They're either gonna have to kick it out of the end zone and give it to us on the 30, right? Or is it the 40? It's the 30.
Out of bounds is the 40, 35.
30, 35. I think that's what it is. Okay. I'm still getting familiar with it. So I was like, they're either going to kick it out of the end zone and give us the ball right where we need it to be, or we're going to get a nice return here. Well, neither one of those things happened, and we didn't get a good return. But I still, in my heart of hearts, was like, Bo Nix is going to make a play right here. And Giants fans are lamenting this today. They were rushing 3. And anytime you rush 3, there's so many soft spots in the zone. You have seam throws that are wide open, not wide open, but for NFL quarterbacks, they're open, right? And Bo Nix turned and ripped it. And we saw a completely different Bo Nix in the fourth quarter than we did the rest of the game. You know why? Because he was playing up tempo. He was playing loose. He was playing an offense that fits his skill set. What a concept, right? So Bo Nix let that one rip. They got a penalty on the offsides, right? Another 5 yards on the Giants. And then he made another great throw to Courtland Sutton. So for as bad as Bo Nix looked, he was incredible in the fourth quarter, right? And I don't think, again, that his struggles are all on him. I feel like Sean Payton is just refusing to make the offense revolve around Bo Nix as far as like what the play calls look like and what the scheme looks like and things like that. But when he made that throw to Sutton, I was like, you're done, Giants. Yep. You're done. You're done. That was it. And I turned to my cousin and the people around me, Sean, the whole time. I was like, is this really happening? Like, what happened in this game? Sorry, my hair is like falling down in my face. And I'm a little discombobulated too because I'm trying to do this podcast after my team just got eliminated from the playoffs in the most gut-wrenching style. So if we're a little disorganized, that's probably why. So we're just kind of talking here. There was really no Sean, right? There's no real plan here. We're just talking about the game, and I'm trying to do my best to hold it together. So anyway, they kick the field goal. I lose my ever-loving mind. And it's just like one of those moments, Sean, where it's like an out-of-body experience. Like you care so much about the team. You love the team so much that when you win games like this, it's like the most amazing feeling, right? And then when you lose games, like I did tonight with the Mariners, it's like the most deflating thing. And it's like a win. It's like a double-edged sword being a sports fan, right? The highs are so high. Yep. They're amazing, right? They're indescribable. And then the lows are just like when we lost to the Colts, I was like, oh man, I can't watch football ever again. You know, like I can't do this anymore. And so like, Sean, talk to me about your emotional roller coaster and how you felt after, the kick went through. And actually go back to when the Giants scored that touchdown. How are you feeling?
Yeah, I mean, it's I have a couple different experiences. Obviously, one from just we've been Broncos fans since I moved to Colorado in 1993, so I've been a Broncos fan for all three Super Bowls. I feel like I've seen obviously we're not old enough to be Orange Crush guys, obviously, other than the historians and things like that. But so I've seen them all. But we've been here for the Paxton Lynch years, and we've been here for everything else. So it's same thing. It's just in a shorter sample size. This is in a 60-minute game as opposed to 30 years of being a Broncos fan. So yeah, I mean, but I also see it from the other side of the coin, being a coach and a dad of somebody that plays football, and the emotional roller coaster that can be from play to play and things like that. So, it's so like you just can't describe it, because it's like it just shouldn't have happened. It's literally impossible based on all statistical data that like there's no reason you should win other than an epic collapse or just an epic finish, and it was ultimately both. And but the kicker still got to make the kick. Bo Nix has still got to, he's a gamer, bro. And to your point,
Sure,
I know we're gonna get to it, but it's not all his fault. One thing that you probably didn't know or didn't hear is that Trent Green on the broadcast talked a lot about how Brian Daboll has taken Ole Miss concepts and made things more comfortable and easy for Jackson Dart. That's a recipe for success. So you see what he did well. He's young. He's thrown into the fire, obviously, after Russell Wilson did his normal Russell Wilson stuff and collapsed and handed the team over to Jackson Dart. Well, rather than just do what the hell Brian Daboll wants to do, they get film from Ole Miss and they give the kid a chance, right? And he looks like a world beater, beating teams that they shouldn't beat. He's on the road in one of the most hostile environments against the best defense in the NFL.
Balling out.
And for the most part, puts up a performance like that. Well, that's the difference, man. Like it's an epic game in a season for someone like the Giants that will mean nothing. They're not going to make the playoffs. They're not going to be good, whatever. Right. And this is just hopefully a learning point for the Broncos, but it doesn't feel like it, because I feel like a broken record when you and I talk every week about this kind of stuff. But yeah, as far as the emotional roller coaster, dude, it's like every time it's a win, it's like you want to rip your shirt off and start running around the yard and the house and going nuts, man. So, look, it's the NFL. There's only 17 of these things. You're going to take the win however you get them. So it doesn't mean I have to be happy about 54 minutes of it, but but at the end of the day, we're first in the division, baby. That's all that matters.
Yeah, that's something that does get lost in the pandemonium here, is that the Broncos are in first place. And the whole time I was thinking to myself, I'm like, man, the Chiefs put it on the Raiders today. We're losing a golden opportunity at home against a team that is inferior to us as far as talent is concerned. And man, we're really going to let the Chiefs back into first place. These are all internal thoughts, of course. Invasive thoughts, if you will. But the Broncos, they found a way to do it. And one thing I want to touch on before we talk about the Broncos, the refs, and 10 of the last 12 quarters, all that stuff, I would love to see Jackson Dart and Bo Nix again real soon. And Sean, it is of my opinion that if Sean Payton will somehow miraculously let his ego go and make an offense that fits Bo Nix better, we could in the future see a Super Bowl between these two quarterbacks. I think Jackson Dart is that good. I think he proved himself. He has never been in that kind of an environment in his life. He's never faced a defense like that in his life, and he was awesome. He made one mistake the whole game. It cost him the game, but that's all it takes in the NFL, right? So Jackson Dart, Bo Nix, Super Bowl preview for the future?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, they're two teams that are building things, right? The Giants, some years behind the Broncos from a defensive perspective and building that team, but they're putting the pieces in place, right, to try and do almost exactly what the Broncos are doing now. I think this hinges a little bit on them being patient with Daboll. I think he's probably the right coach, and he's been put in a position with quarterbacks that just don't really fit the system, and so I you got to have patience with some of these guys. And I feel like he was a great coordinator in Buffalo. I feel like you hold on to that guy. It seems like him and Jackson Dart and Nutcase Scadaboo have a great relationship. So I feel like you keep riding that and you build on that. But yeah, man, the NFC isn't like the AFC from a quarterback perspective, at least not right now. It's not Mahomes, Allen, Jackson, Burrow, Nix, Herbert. It's not this gauntlet of quarterbacks yet, and that gives him a fantastic opportunity if they can build around that and do that. So yeah, I don't think it's out of the realm of possibilities. They're in a tough division. Yeah, well, the Eagles, I guess,
typically,
Jaden Daniels, if he can stay healthy, those types of things. But yeah, I mean, I thought he was great in college. I thought it was a good pick. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility. I'd love to see it too. I mean, I hope that it's more of a 4-quarter game when that comes around, but it definitely could happen for sure.
Yeah. And we're going to touch on probably the most dangerous team in that division right now who's coming to town this weekend, which I never thought I was going to utter those words coming into the year. But one thing I want to touch on real quick, Sean, is the NFL. I don't know what it is, if it's actually a crooked league, if these referees are just bad at their job. I don't know what it is. But on that first drive that the Giants had to score a touchdown, they called the Broncos offsides, right? They were not offsides. And then they called it again later in the game, and again they were not offsides. From your view on the TV, were the Broncos offsides? Because it didn't look like it to us on the replay.
Oh God, I don't remember, dude. They line up so much in the neutral zone that I kind of run them together because Nick is offsides a lot. I know for sure once in the first quarter, and I don't fault him for that. You get as many sacks as you get a couple offsides. You do what you do, boo. But so I don't fault him for that. But he is in the neutral zone a lot. But
Chris Jones style, baby.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if they're only going to call you once a game, hell, get as close as you can. So, I would have to look at the tape and see exactly which two we're talking about. But, I know sometimes it's pretty close.
I will tell you guys this, and I'm not going to touch on the refs anymore after this, but there was a disheartening moment for me as a football fan when it's like, are they in bed with Vegas, or what's going on here? Because it was on that first scoring drive that the Giants had. They called the Broncos for defensive holding, right? I promise you guys, I was at the game. As soon as the ball was snapped, they threw the flag. And not only did they throw the flag, but it was the back judge. And he was like 15 yards away. So it was an absolutely insane call to me. And I really want to believe that the NFL is not fixed. I'm not a guy that complains about the referees very often. And if I do, I don't blame them for my team losing the game, which I wouldn't have in this case. No matter what the game came down to in the fourth quarter, had they given the Giants that touchdown and won the game that way, we didn't score for 3 quarters.
Yep.
Almost 4 quarters, 3.5 quarters, we didn't score. Yeah. So that wouldn't have been the reason that we lost. But it is disheartening as a fan to be there in person and to see something so crooked happen right before your very eyes. And I just wanted to put that out there. As an NFL fans, we just want you to be consistent. We want you guys to be fair. It doesn't matter what uniform anybody's wearing, and it shouldn't matter to anybody, including you guys. Call a fair game. I don't care what quarterback it is. I don't care if they're home or away. I don't care about any of that. Just call the game fair. That's all we're asking as football fans, and I don't think that's a tough thing to want, Sean, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think there was one, on the TV when Bo Nix took that forearm to the face, and you're like, if that's Mahomes, that's a 15-yard penalty. I think Abdul Carter was surprised he didn't get a penalty. The way he celebrated, he's looking around like, there's no way I didn't just get a penalty. I just hit this dude right in the face. And so, yeah, consistency is an issue, but that's why people always say that the refs favor certain teams, because you can't get it consistently right. So, I hope that it's obviously just people that are bad at their jobs, which, people are all over this world, horrible at their jobs. So you hope that it's just one of those things with refs too. But yeah, I can see where you're coming from.
Some accountability would be nice. I would like to believe, I would rather them be bad at their job than the latter, right? Or the former in this case. But if they are bad at their job, can we get some accountability? Like, can we get the refs on the mic after the game? Can they answer for what they're doing out there? Can they be fined? Can they be suspended? Can they not do playoff games? You know, like it seems like every year the NFL rewards their worst referee crews and puts them in the playoffs, right? And it's just crazy to me. But anyway, outside of the referees, outside of the fourth quarter, where DT definitely guided the Broncos to a win, by the way. Thank you, DT. Outside of all that stuff, the Broncos are not playing good football, Sean. And that can't be skirted by in any way, shape, or form right now. And I want to tell you guys, they played 3 really bad quarters in Philadelphia. They played 4 horrible quarters against the Jets. And they played 3.5 terrible quarters against the Giants. Right? Mm-hmm. So I think that's 10, right? I think it adds up to 10. It's either 10 of their last 12 or 9 of their last 11 quarters. They have been lifeless. They have been horrible on offense. They have looked non-competitive. And this is on the coach. He does not get a pass for this. He does not get to just skirt by and not have to answer questions for games like this because they won. And he said after the game, Sean, that they cleaned up their mess. It's like, it was your mess.
Yeah.
You created this mess. And yes, the defense had some lapses. They gave up some big plays. But that happens when you're on the field more than you need to be, right?
You're on the field all the time.
Time of possession was pretty even in the game, shockingly. But still, the Broncos, it had you like sustained a couple drives in the first quarter, we wouldn't be having this conversation. They probably wouldn't have had those breakdowns, right?
Yeah.
So, Sean, what are your thoughts on Sean Payton and the lack of preparedness that the Broncos show, especially at home, all the time under Sean Payton? They're never seemingly ready to play. They're never prepared. Their game plan's never good. They come out flat. What level of concern are you at with this? And we know obviously that it can't continue. So,
yeah, I mean, I think I've touched on it a little bit already. The first 15 has to be more effective. It's ridiculous that it isn't. You have a good football team. You have good players in seemingly all over the place, and you can't stay on the football field. And it drives me insane. And it's like, I think it was DiNucci had said something about about somebody else calling the plays, or whoever had tweeted that. Podcasters and people all over the country, national media, just talking about how bad the play calling is. It's not just 2 Broncos fans hating on Sean Payton. The play calling is awful. It's not helping a young quarterback when you have options in the running back room. But I don't want to just beat a dead horse, because you say unpreparedness, the lack of discipline and the lack of knowledge for situational football is insane. When RJ Harvey caught that kick and ran out of bounds at the 4-yard line, I was like, what the hell are we doing? That was about to go out of bounds and we were going to get at the 40. And instead, we're inside the 5-yard line on a kickoff when you're already playing like crap. What are we doing? And how does an NFL player not know that? I mean, it's just egregious things like that. Lining up in the neutral zone constantly. Special teams blunders all over the place. And that's coaching. It's coaching. Because these guys, most of these rules are exactly the same from the time you play football in high school till you get to the NFL. There are tweaks and there are small changes, but the fact that you make children mistakes on the football field, and it's not just like, okay, RJ Harvey ran out of bounds, he made one mistake. They make mistakes all the time, and it's not getting better. It happens every week, and you're almost losing to teams that have no business being in the game with you. And I get it's any given Sunday. I get anybody can win. I get all the players are paid. I get all the cliches. You are a better football team that people pick as a playoff sleeper and a potential Super Bowl, and you can't put quarters together against the Jets and the Giants, who are literally talking about firing their first-year head coach because they're one of the worst teams ever. They just benched their quarterback that they just signed and paid. It's like, I just don't get it, dude. And it's like, how many different people have to say run the ball? And then you say, yeah, we need to run the ball. And then you don't run the damn ball. What is it going to take? Do you have to lose to these teams to realize that you're going to have to run the ball? And then we're going to be more mad because you're losing to the bad teams and still not doing what you say you're going to do? Because J.K. Dobbins seems to be more than capable of doing whatever it is that we need him to do. And
100%.
And Harvey I think he looks great in most instances as a change of pace back and doing that kind of stuff. But you do not get them involved. And then you bring in Evan Ingram to be your joker, and he never touches the damn ball. Like, what are we doing? I mean, it's like, I hate to be negative after such a cool win, but it's like, this is not sustainable for a team that's trying to go to the playoffs and win a Super Bowl. You're going to lose in the first round. And I don't care who you play. You keep coaching and you keep playing like this, you're going to lose in the first round, and I don't care who you play.
What's frustrating for me, Sean, and you made excellent points there, is how many weeks in a row are we going to have to watch this? You know, it's like, what are we not doing at practice? What are we not doing in the film room? What are we not seeing? And we are not NFL coaches. We're not scouts. We're not any of that stuff. But the frustration level of being a fan of watching this team right now is through the roof. It is unwatchable football. And I said this on my last podcast that I did by myself. We've seen this team in Denver for the last 10 years, right? Good to elite defense. Atrocious offense. And we're talking about not being able to get in third and medium, third and short. They're doing that this year constantly, always in third and long, right? Even on that play that got us back in the game, the 3rd and 11, Nick's throw to, I think it was Mims down the left sideline, right sideline. It was a 3rd and 11.
Yep.
You got to run the ball. You got to run to set up the pass. The Broncos seemingly just do not want to do things like that. And it's getting frustrating. If you play like this against the Kansas City Chiefs, you are going to lose, especially if you do this in Kansas City. There's no chance you're going to win games like this. And that leads me to this, Sean. If you play like this against this week's opponent, the Dallas Cowboys, who can hang them on you, they can score, and they can score a lot. You're going to be in trouble. And the Cowboys, they've played some crazy, crazy games this year, have they not?
Yep.
And they have a tight end that is just a monster this year in Jake Ferguson.
Yep.
Javonte Williams is now rejuvenated in Dallas. Dak Prescott is playing at an MVP level without CeeDee Lamb, who's probably coming back this week.
He played
this week. Yep. So
just play it. So you got 2 number ones.
He did play yesterday? Okay.
He did, yep.
So, yep, you got Perkins and Lamb coming in. This is a super, super dangerous football team, Sean. And what we're talking about right now, if you don't come out prepared, they more than likely will. And they haven't beaten us since 1995, I think it is, the Cowboys. They're going to want to win this game. They're going to come in with a chip on their shoulder. I really think they will, and especially Javonte, right?
Absolutely.
So what are our thoughts with the Cowboys coming to town this weekend in a seemingly very scary team to play right now?
Yeah. So I'm going to say one more thing about the running game because it's driving me nuts, and watching at home. I'm sick of hearing commentators say that Sean Payton loves to use these screens as an extension of the running game. There is no extension. No, there's no extension. That's your damn running game because you won't run the damn ball. So if you run the ball and then you want to use that as an extension, it will work more frequently. But when you never run the ball and they just expect short passes to the edges, they're going to be playing out there. Run the damn football. Run it up the middle. Give it to J.K. Dobbins. Every time you have the J.K. Dobbins drive, we freaking score. Give him the damn ball, dude. I'm sick of it. I'm sick. I don't want to hear the extension of anything. If you throw Troy Franklin the ball behind the line of scrimmage again, I'm going to scream. Just run the ball, dude. But it's to the Cowboys' point. Yeah, Javonte, he led the league in yak yards before he got injured, and he is going to play that way. So you better lower your pads and you better hit that boy because he is coming hard. And we love Javonte. You and I were big Javonte
100%.
guys. I will not be surprised if he has a day, because I think he's that dude. He was always that dude. I love Javonte. I hope I'm wrong. But I don't know if Riley Moss can cover George Pickens, dude, in one-on-one coverage all day long. That's going to be a chore, man. And Ferguson, I texted you again, forgetting that you were at the game, but having Singleton in coverage, I can't remember his name now, yesterday, 84, like
Ballinger.
I'm like, dude, I know Dre Greenlaw is playing in this game. Why is Singleton in coverage getting torched all over the place? And Ferguson will tear him up. And Dre doesn't like to play football since he got suspended. So he's just hanging out, man. He's in Denver to hang out. So once again, we're going to be hamstrung trying to cover tight ends. And so I'm more nervous than I felt like I was going to be about this game, which I don't like because I am a notorious Cowboys hater.
Yeah. I personally don't have any issues with the Cowboys. They're not a rival. The Broncos, to me, I don't really care. I know their fans are annoying, but everybody's fans are annoying, in my opinion, even ours sometimes. But I will say, to your point, and I do think Dre Greenlaw's suspension will be appealed. It is getting appealed, and I don't think they're going to uphold this because the referee pushed Justin Strnad, and that's why Dre got upset. If you've seen the video, he like pushes Strnad out of the way, and Dre's like, "What do you do? Like, what was that?" You know. So like, if the NFL, I'm gonna choose to blindly have faith in them here. If they see that the ref pushed Strnad, then I think Dre's gonna play this weekend. We're gonna need him this weekend for the next. Well, maybe not the Texans, but this game, the Raiders game, and the Chiefs game. He's got to be on the field because those are 3 tight ends that will ruin your day. And 3 quarterbacks that know how to use those tight ends, unlike Sean Payton with Evan Ingram. And getting back to that, like, he doesn't look comfortable in the offense at all. And when they do throw him the ball, it's for like 2 yards. Like, they're not getting down the seam with the tight end. It's literally a lifeline with Evan Ingram, but it's like, just get rid of the ball to him if we need to. We're not getting him open. We're not designing plays for him. We're throwing the ball to Nate Atkins more than we're throwing to him.
He drops it.
Yeah, and your other point too with Dre Greenlaw, dude, I watched the game and I kept turning to everybody around me. I'm like, is Greenlaw on the field? And I texted my buddy and he was like, he's on a pitch count. I said, what is it, 1? Because I saw him on 1 play and then I never saw him again.
Yeah.
So I was like, did he get hurt? Like, what happened? So anyway, Dre Greenlaw is going to be a huge part of this defense moving forward. The Cowboys are super dangerous. The Broncos should not take them lightly. Now, after coming off a game like this, I can imagine the Broncos sleepwalking in the first quarter again, first half. They can't do that against the Cowboys. They just can't do it. And as much as I want to sit here and say the Cowboys defense is atrocious, and it is, it's really bad. So was the Giants defense, and they looked like world beaters in the first 3 quarters against the Broncos. The Broncos couldn't run the ball. They couldn't pass the ball. They couldn't protect Bo. They couldn't run an option. They couldn't hand the ball off to each other. Like, it was just bad. And so I don't care what defense you're playing against. If you can't execute what you're trying to do, you're going to lose. And you're playing with fire, playing like this. I want the Broncos to come out and play a 4-quarter game, Sean.
That's it. It doesn't have to be perfect.
No, it never will be.
Play effectively in all 4 quarters. Put points up in all 4 quarters, and you will win the game because your defense is that good. But you can't play behind the sticks and behind in the scoreboard and just let Bo Nix figure it out on his own because your play calls are ass. Like, it's like he just has to run 20-yard touchdowns because because nobody's open because your play calls suck. So yeah, I'm just he it's nice to know he's good enough to do that. Let's not put him in the position to have to do that so we can actually sit there and enjoy the game and not have to dye our hair because it's all gray all the time because your play calling ruins my life.
I have been telling people that he's a problem since he got here. Nobody listens to me except you, Sean. And it gets frustrating. It's like, we can't question Sean Payton because he's won a Super Bowl and he's an offensive guru. No, I'm sorry. I don't subscribe to that. And I don't care that I've never coached or played in the NFL. I can see with my own eyes what he's doing with his offense, and it's not effective. It is not conducive to success for Bo Nix. And yes, I've had my issues with Bo Nix and his footwork, Sean, but these problems do not fall on Bo Nix. These are coaching issues. And at some point, Sean Payton's going to have to look in the mirror and say, what am I not doing right for my quarterback in the first half of these games? What is not working? Why do I keep running these same plays? Dude, if you're going to run screenplays, you better have the damn personnel to run these plays. And I'm sorry, I don't know why Adam Troutman is on this team. I know he's a good blocker. Every time I see him out there, Sean, he gets blown up. He gets walked around. It's like, dude, you're out there for one reason. It's to block. You can't even do that. Why are you here? You know, run the screens, but run them after you've established the run game, to your point. Run play action, run it after you've established the run. It's not a difficult concept that we're asking you to run a competent offense. This looks like the Vic Fangio offense, does it not?
Yeah, well, and I'll tell you how I know it's not good play calling, because I see the punter on the field too many damn times a game.
Yep.
So, I mean, let's call a spade a spade. It's not all ineffective players on the field. You're calling bad plays, and we're going 3 and out all the time.
Yep. I do want to close this out by saying we love you, DT. All love to you, your family. Thank you for the memories. You were an absolute monster with the Broncos, and we can't thank you enough for.
He was a great guy too, man. I got to meet him.
Yeah, we can't thank you enough for the work you did in the community, how nice you were to people on the streets, all the things that you did to give back to the community. Just an absolute beast of a person and a football player, and you'll be missed forever. I'm so glad that you were immortalized in the Ring of Fame, right where you belong. There's some other guys on that Super Bowl 50 team who are going to be in that Ring of Fame one day. Chris Harris Jr., namely, will be in that Ring of Fame.
Yep.
So I just wanted to shout him out. I want to shout out Emmanuel Sanders for keeping himself together enough to put some words together at halftime to say about DT and the Super Bowl 50 team. I don't have this chain. We don't have, this memorabilia. We don't have a third Super Bowl without you guys. So we're super thankful to you guys, the Walton Penner family, for just so tastefully handling the entire situation and bringing the alumni back and making them feel welcome. That is a culture building activity that they are doing, and it's going to make guys want to stay here and sign here in the future. So the Broncos have been a class act all the way around since the Walton Penner group has come in. I don't know about their coaching hire, but they have been phenomenal for the Broncos.
Absolutely.
And I just wanted to shout out all that stuff. And hey, we won the game. And I think that's
all you can ask for.
I think that's all that matters at the end of the day. And Sean, we don't want to put a negative spin on something that was so magical. Mile High Magic was a thing when we were younger, and it hasn't been a thing for a long, long, long time. Right? And it is back. It came back yesterday. And so it was a great experience for me to go to that game, to get the chain, to see the Super Bowl team, to see DT put in the Ring of Fame. It was just an awesome experience, and I will never forget this game, as all other Bronco fans will tell you. We'll never forget.
Such a cool thing, dude.
We will never forget this game, ever. And so, Broncos, we're proud of you guys. We love you. Thank you for winning the game, finding a way to do something that no other team has ever done in NFL history, right? And that's maybe it catapults us to a Super Bowl. You never know.
Ride that magic into the next game, man, and
ride the magic
the rest of the season.
Ride the magic. We will need Dre Greenlaw in that game, I'll tell you what.
Yep.
But anyway, thank you guys for tuning in. I am Mile High Mez. This is Sean, the Bronc Bros podcast. You can find us at Bronc Bros on Instagram, Bronc Bros on YouTube. Like, follow, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. Thank you guys. Moving forward, we'll talk to you next week after the Broncos play the Cowboys. Hopefully it's another dub.
See you next week.
Go Broncos.